If you'd have told me that you can get a complete gun safe shipped to your house for about $250, I would have said that there's no possible way. Well, here it is, assembled and in my garage, and today we're gonna check it out. This is the KAER World 10-13 gun safe. We're gonna see how it holds up. So you may be thinking, for $250, what kind of safe can you actually get? And I would say that this is way above my expectations for the $250 price tag. Now, a traditional gun safe is, several $100s, and it offers, usually they offer some type of fireproof protection. Just know, this safe does not really offer any fireproofing. This is more just a safe against any type of theft or loss of property. Like I said, don't expect any type of fire protection from this safe. It is just sheet metal. On the outside, there's no fireproofing material on the inside. But like I said, for $250, you do get a very secure safe to help fight against theft and loss of personal items. For full disclosure, KAER World did send us this safe for free, but they did not pay us any money or influence our review in any way. The opinions I've been sharing are my own personal opinions. Like I mentioned, these safes are shipped right to your door, and you do have to assemble them. And I would say I'm somewhat handy. I've got all the proper tools to assemble one of these, no problem. And it took me about 30-45 minutes, and I was filming it at the same time, so it took me a little bit longer than it would probably take you. So assembly, the instructions are clear, easy to follow, nothing too hard there. And I will say, if you want to make it a lot easier on yourself, instead of using the provided screwdriver, just get a drill. If you have a drill, just use it, or if not, you'll make do with the screwdriver. But super easy to assemble. Like I mentioned, all the pieces come labeled, and you just put this piece here, that piece there. Super easy. So this thing weighs about 90 pounds. So it's definitely not light by any means, but it is not your typical 700, 800, 900 pound safe that you get from your sporting goods stores or any of your big box retailers. With that lighter weight comes the true purpose of these safes, in my opinion. Now, obviously, if you're wanting to completely store your firearms in a manner that there's no possible way that they're going to be stolen, you probably want like a safe that weighs over 1,000 pounds, bolted to the floor or whatnot. But for people that live in apartments on second, third, even fourth floors, that's just out of the question. That's not even a possibility. So getting one of these, assembling it, and then securely mounting it to a wall or floor will give you a very, very close level of protection to your multi-$1,000 safes from a theft prevention standpoint. You may think this safe weighs 90 pounds, so somebody can come in and just pick it up and run out the door with it. But if it's mounted, if it's screwed into the wall, that's just not possible. And if it's bolted into the floor, that's also not possible. To mount it to the wall, there are 4 spots inside of the safe where you can put a lag bolt into a stud or any type of fastener that you choose for your type of wall. And then it also has spots available at the bottom for anchors in concrete. So if you want to really secure this safe, you can do it pretty easily. Now, I will say, if you do not secure this safe to the floor or to the wall, it's not that secure, just in the fact that it would be hard for one person to pick the safe up and run out the door with it, including all the contents. But 2 people or 3 people, getting one side, one guy on one end, one guy on the other end, you could tip this over, carry it out of a door, throw it in the back of a pickup truck in just a matter of seconds. So to fully utilize this safe to its full potential, it has to be secured to a floor or a wall. The safe itself has 4 locking pins, 1 in the top, 2 in the side, and 1 in the bottom. And it locks by this rotary dial right here. The safe itself can be opened by either a key, a combination, or a fingerprint. Now, I prefer to use the keypad just because I don't usually set up my fingerprint on a phone or any safe or anything like that. I like to have the key code. And then I keep the key, the spare key, somewhere safe just in case the battery dies and I can't get into it via the keypad or the thumbprint. I have the key as a backup so I can always access the unit. So it will hold up to 30 fingerprints. Now, I don't know why you would want 30 people with access to your safe, but you can do it. With the combination itself, most safes are like either 6 or 4-digit codes. With this one, you can add, I think, up to 12 digits, and I've just added a 8-digit code. Hit the pound key, and you're in, just like that. If you like this safe or any of the products on KAERworld.com, you can use our code TSD15 for 15% off your order. Like I mentioned, these are already under $250, so it'll take it and put it right about, you know, $200 shipped to your door. So that's kind of hard to beat. That's TSD15 at KAERworld.com, KAERWORLD.com. When I was first contacted by KAER World, I was skeptical of how secure a safe of this price point and this weight could actually be, but I was very well pleased after assembling it and putting some guns in and out of it. I obviously have not mounted mine to the wall like I mentioned yet, but once I get this thing, I'm gonna put it just right here on the side of this room. Once I get this thing mounted, I have no problems putting some of my firearms, you know, higher value firearms in here, and not worry about them gonna get stolen. Now, if a person is really wanting to get in your safe, whether it be this safe or a $3,000 Liberty safe, they're gonna get into it. If they have the appropriate tools, cutters, torches, saws, anything and everything they can use to get into a safe, they will. So, don't think that this thing is impenetrable, because nothing is really. But like I said, used properly, it can provide a great deal of protection. When getting a new safe, they always advertise how many firearms it can hold. Those numbers I've found are rarely ever accurate. So I've got several firearms laid out right here. We're going to see how many we can fit in this safe. And I've got a mixture of just your typical shotguns with no optics to, AR style rifles with red dots and slings. So we're gonna put a mixture of everything and see how many we can fit into this safe. So I was able to get every gun except one in this safe that I put in my normal safe back there behind me. And that's quite a lot of guns for this safe. Now, they're crammed in there. If you want to get one out of the back, you're gonna have to take every gun out of that safe. But still, from like an anti-theft prevention standpoint, that's pretty decent. You can fit a lot of stuff in there. Now again, it's not gonna be organized. It's gonna be pretty chaotic inside, but you can fit a pretty fair amount of guns. Now, if you just have like 4 or 5 or 6 that you want to keep in there solely and have pretty easy access to, that would probably be a better idea, because I think I've got either 10 or 9 in there currently, and it's pretty packed. What I also like is that they have this little rack right here where you can store handguns in there, and you can store 1, 2, 3, 4 handguns and probably even more in this little cubby pretty easily. But if you don't want to do that, and if you have some, all of your weapons have like a really long barrel, you can choose not to add this and, have it set up that way. And up here you have an additional shelf, and it's secured by 4 tabs. Now, I wouldn't put, 3,000 rounds of ammo up on here on this shelf as far as weight goes. I would probably use it for more pistols, accessories, holsters, magazines, stuff like that. You can put some weight up there, but I wouldn't put, 100 pounds up there. And on the door itself right here, we have a small area for storage on the top, and on the bottom down here, the same style shelf right here on the bottom. We also have these hooks right here where you can put like slings or, keys or anything you can attach on a hook will go right there. There's 5 slots right there for that. So pretty cool. They have a lot of features on this safe for the amount of money that you pay, and that's what I really like. They include these like padded slots where your rifles or shotguns will fit into. So they really put a lot of thought into these safes, and again, for the money, what you get is a pretty good value, in my opinion. To wrap things up, I think this is a good value. I lived in an apartment, a first floor apartment, for about a year and a half, and I took this safe that you see behind me with me to that apartment, and it was an absolute pain to get in. I had to go up just a couple steps, no stairs really, but it was an absolute pain to get in and then get out. And when I lived in my apartment, I had my safe out in the middle of the living room, taking up a good amount of space. So this safe in particular would have fit perfectly inside of my closet, taking up a much smaller footprint. I would have much preferred to get something like this and securely mount it to the wall or floor in my apartment. Probably the wall I would have had to use, but it's just a much better option. When I lived in my apartment, I did not have all of my firearms with me, so this would have been perfect, as I only had an AR, a couple shotguns, and a few of my pistols. So for people in those type situations, I think this safe is an absolutely great idea because it fits that need almost perfectly. It would be great to have a little bit of fire protection, but with that comes added weight and a definite added cost. For me personally, my expectations were exceeded just in the quality of this thing. Now the steel that they use is pretty solid, and with all the screws that I had to drill in while assembling this thing, I know it's not gonna come apart. So it's solid, it's cheap, it's lightweight. I think it fits a very specific need and it fits it well. That'll do it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Drop us a like, comment, and hit that subscribe button. We'll see you in the next video.